Well, hello YouTubers. Saturday morning. We had rain last night, 50 millimeters of rain, but we really needed it big time. So then this morning, of course, we had the thunder, and now everything is cleared up again. It's a beautiful morning. So I said I'd come out and I'd feed Kathy's fish for her. They're growing pretty big. When we put them in there, they were about 1 inch long, and now they're probably between 4 and 5 inches long, and boy, do they have an appetite, almost as bad as myself. In the meantime, I was doing up a video of some equipment that we were repairing in the shop this week, and I got a lot of footage on it, but I'm going to wait till I get the equipment finished before I actually do a video on it. So I think some of you might find that pretty interesting. A couple of unique items, well, one unique item anyway for sure, so that'll be next week. In the meantime, I figured maybe what I'd do is I'd go back and pull up some projects that I've done in the past and do kind of a photo video of some of the things that I've taken and I've restored over the past number of years. You certainly won't get it all in one video. It'll probably take 20 videos to do it. But in the meantime, be something new. I'm using some different programming too, some editing programs that's a little different what we've been using, so it'll give me a chance to practice on that. So if you like it, please say so. If you don't, well, we won't do that anymore, so to speak. But I just thought some might find it interesting. So let's head on into the office or the house, and we'll get at it and see what I can compile for you. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day. Okay, let's start off with this machine. It's a 1969 Honda Z50. I had one like it when I was a kid. This one came from Vancouver Island. Pretty rough shape. Here it is unpackaged, and boy, I'm going to tell you, it's a bit surprising to see it, but I took it all apart, sandblasted it, and as you can see, the aluminum was in pretty rough shape. But I have a way of buffing this stuff out, so it takes a few hours to do almost each piece. In the next clip here, you'll see me out by the door on a cold October day actually doing the buffing. So you'll see the results here next, and putting in the time is definitely worth it. So if you got some old aluminum out there, guys, keep it buffed. It'll shine. As you can see, it's a true frame-off restoration. Everything is sandblasted and body work is done. Once all that is set up and finished and completed to my satisfaction, then I'll turn around and I'll get ready for paint. So now that all the body work is done and the parts are primed and spot puttied and sanded, we're ready to apply the paint. So we're going to use some base coat, clear coat in this particular application. So let's load up the gun and see what happens. Well, here you'll see me mixing up the paint and the reducers and whatever. And I'm just getting ready to apply it. I'm using developers gear in this case. It's a pressurized helmet. I don't get any fumes in it. It's very safe. You have to be very careful using these modern paints because of the contaminants in them. Well, seeing this small gas tank is a two-tone color, the first thing I had to do was do a bit of taping and then spray the blue on, as you can see in the photo. It's a little bit more work to do the two-tone, but you have to have it as correct as you possibly can when you're doing these things. The main objective is to get it back to its original condition as close as possible. Okay, as you can see by this photo, we're well advanced on the project. The gas tank is installed, the front end is installed, the seat is installed in the frame. The next thing to do is the engine. We even got the accurate decals put back on the tank. Like I say, you know, the closer you can get to detail, the more appealing it will be to the eye when it's completed. In this frame you can see I'm basically doing the engine. Every aspect of the engine has been completely rebuilt, and I'm, by the looks of this picture, I'm back into the assembly stage. Well, here you go. Here's the finished project. It was a great little project. I really enjoyed this. Back in 1970, my dad bought me a used bike just like this, the same color and everything, and I always wanted another one just so I could just look at it and appreciate it. Really had a ball on this as a kid. Really enjoyed it, and I never forgot the fact that my late father bought it for me, so maybe one of those days I'll give it to a grandchild. time will tell. Well, basically, here's the smallest bike that Honda ever built, right next to the largest bike that Honda ever built. I guess you can say that's Mama and her cub. It's kind of interesting. Back in 1970, I never thought I'd be riding a 6-cylinder Goldwing with ABS brakes and whatnot, but kind of nice to see the two of them together. Well, this is a custom license plate that we had made for the back of the Z50, and it kind of represents what it's all about. Well, here's where we displayed a little bike amongst our other bikes. It's in our place we call Gasoline Alley. We have that also included on our channel, so if you want to see a video of the place, just go look for the video. But it's well kept and it's in a dry, heated place, so it should last a long time there. Well, when you're a 10-year-old boy with a Honda Z50, you got a tendency to grow out of it pretty quick. So I had the Z50 for a couple of years, then I bought a 1972 CT70, and I always wanted one, so my son Dennis found one for me and picked it up in Gatineau, Quebec, and shipped it down to me. So here it is arriving at the house, and I'm right anxious to unwrap it and see what it looks like. Well, I was pleased as punch to see that the bike was in really good shape. It had some little bit of damage to the frame, and the speedometer had the lens cracked, but all in all, as motorcycle restorations go, this was going to be, although a complete restoration, it was going to be much easier than the ones that I've been used to. So here you can see the damage to the speedometer. No big deal. We'll fix that during the restoration. So before I stripped the bike down, I noticed a couple of brackets in that were actually broken, so I said I might as well weld them in place now before I tear it apart, and that way when it goes back together, everything should fit as normal. Well, the next step now is to figure out exactly what I need and get the parts ordered and start restoring some of the parts that I can get at right now. So I'm going to make a frame stand for it, sandblast it, and the other parts that I can't sandblast, I'll bead blast in the small cabinet blaster. Well, here the main frame has been sandblasted and it's all been primed, and I'm just sanding down the high build primer. The main goal here, or the main objective, is to get this 100% perfect if possible. Here you'll see me using a Canadian built bead blaster or cabinet blaster. It's made by Canablast. I have done thousands and thousands of projects in hours with this cabinet. It's just a fabulous piece of equipment, and I absolutely love the thing. Without this machine, restorations wouldn't be possible. Well, here you'll see me applying the Candy Gold. It's kind of a unique color to this bike, but it's a really nice color, and it's close to the original color you can get. Honda will not release their original color code, so you can only match by card. But very pleased with the way it worked out. It's a really nice color. Well, as you can see, we jumped ahead a few steps, a good many steps actually, but this is the fun part of any project. The assembly point. After all your hard hours and your long hours and your troubleshooting, you finally get to start to see some of the work that you've spent so many hours doing. And as you can see by this photo, it's coming together quite nicely, and I'm really starting to get excited about the project at this point. Well, with any of my projects, there's always a certain part of the project that creates a major problem, and you're looking at it right here. It came in with the wrong seat on it. And the only place I could find an OEM seat for it, believe it or not, was Vietnam. I actually had to buy this seat and have it sent in from Vietnam. And it's brand new. It worked out beautifully. And I just could not leave that old seat on the bike, and you can see why by the photos. Well, with any of my restorations, I don't try to leave any stone unturned, and the same thing goes with the motor in this bike. It was completely dismantled, and new rings were fitted, valves. Whatever it needs, it gets. There's no budget, as the wife says, and gets quite upset with me, but when it's all done, it looks and works well. And here is the finished project. I think it turned out quite well. It looks nice. Actually, it looks as good as new. I've added some custom features to it, such as the windshield in the front and the chrome rack in the back. It's a nice little bike. It's completely rebuilt, and it's working perfect. It's actually even licensed, to tell you the truth. So, but it's not used. It's put in the gasoline alley, and it's just used for display purposes only. But if you had to add gas to it, it would work perfect. Here you can see the speedometer has been rebuilt by me, and if you remember back a few frames ago, it came in and it was cracked, so it's like new now. It's in gasoline alley, like I say, and the owner's manual is there. It displays well. And I had a brochure come in from Australia, an original brochure for it, as you can see, and it's framed and placed by the bike. So it displays well, and I'm quite happy with the way the project turned out. You know, most of the guys that started off riding bikes started off on these Honda mini trails, so a lot of people that ride bikes today will even remember these bikes quite well. Okay, let's change it up a little bit. As you know, Gasoline Alley has a lot of vintage gas pumps in it. Well, this is a gas pump made by Gas Boy, a small gas pump that was used on farms, in taxi stands, police forces, and whatnot. It's kind of a unique item. Let's have a look and see how this thing turned out. It's unique. The door opens on it, and it's got 10 keys in it. Each key fits a particular piece of equipment, and it tells what piece of equipment used and the amount of fuel. And that's what makes this quite unique. So I'll turn the page now, look for another photo so I can show you. As with anything I restore, I always try to have the proper literature or manuals or service manuals on each item. So in this case, it's not much difference. I had the service manuals and all the original parts manuals on each pump. So here's a picture of the two manuals. Well, here you can see the pump was all stripped down, and it's been sandblasted. I do the sandblasting out in the back of the building. You can't do that inside. There's just too much of a mess. But you can see that they need a lot of body work, and if there's any rust or corrosion before you paint them, they've got to be repaired. Here you can see the panels just after being painted. Again, it's base clear paint, and it's usually epoxy primed. Some of the pumps were intended to be used outdoors, but most of them ended up in Gasoline Alley. Here you can see the clear has been applied, and it's got a real nice finish to it. It's a factory automotive finish, actually. So it'll last a lifetime, you know, with the right proper care. And here you can see the assembly has started, and we're getting ready to apply the decals and move it out to Gasoline Alley. I was telling you about the 10 keys that it took, like if your fleet owned it. Well, here's the door open, and you can see each key where it would go. It's kind of a unique pump, and for its time in the 1940s, 1950s, it was probably state-of-the-art when it came to pumps. And here you can see the finished product. It looks much nicer than it was than when it was stripped down and rusty. It's like I say, it's very unique, and I bought 2 of these pumps so I could use them for our pedal car collection, and they go really nice with the pedal cars. Well, after restoring 2 of those Gas Boy pumps, I decided the right thing to do to display them properly would be build a gas pump island. So here you can see pictures of the gas pump island that I made with the center light and everything for it, and it's on casters, as you'll see in the next frame, and I can move it back and forth the floor if need be, if I want to clean up the place. You can see the casters. It's nothing fancy, but it's all made out of 1/8 plate, and it's very strong, and it can handle the pumps no problem at all. It still took, you know, a few days to build this, and but I think it was worth it, because when you see the finished product with all the pedal cars displayed. I also built a little rack too that we could put our miniature oil cans on to put between the pumps, and I must say people seem to like this as well. I put a switch on the back and I wired it into the light so I could just flick the switch and the island light would come on, and even the globes come on over the Gas Boy pumps, which makes it unique, and it really adds to the atmosphere of the building. Well, there you go, guys. There's the finished product. You can see the pumps there on the island with the island light on. We're going to call this video a wrap. We'll see how you enjoy this. it's just kind of an experiment for me. I got about 30,000 photos on my computer, and they're all projects, some related to tractors, some related to motorcycles, vintage restoration, tool building, all kinds of stuff, welding, whatever, all kinds of fabrication. So if any of you guys like this, see if I can get some time to do more of it. Boy, I'm going to tell you, this takes a lot more time to do than an actual video. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, you can subscribe to us, and hopefully you'll see some more. And give us a thumbs up if you want. And if there's something you don't like about it, be sure to tell us as well, because the feedback is what matters with this sort of thing. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and God bless. And I hope you have a great weekend.